Coming up on Coastline News, President Barack Obama celebrates 4 more years of presidency.
And the East Coast recovers from Hurricane Sandy.
You're watching Coastline News.
Good evening and welcome to Coastline News. I'm Amanda McCord.
And I'm Kayla McMacken. After a brutal, bitter campaign, President Barack Obama has fought his way to a second victory. George Howell from CNN has more on the story.
Thousands packed this Chicago Convention Center to celebrate their current and future president, Barack Obama.
While our journey has been long, we have picked ourselves up. We have fought our way back. And we know in our hearts that for the United States of America, the best is yet to come.
Tonight's outcome was anything but certain. It's been 6 months and more than 100 rallies since the president officially kicked off his re-election effort. A slow economic recovery and a poor performance in the first presidential debate left the campaign in a virtual tie in the final weeks. But as the election wore on, the president continued to rack up key electoral votes. Then, shortly after 11 p.m. Eastern Time, it was Ohio that put Obama over the top, a state that became ground zero for both candidates in the final hours of the campaign. For Mitt Romney, the loss was a bitter disappointment following weeks of campaign momentum. But in a concession speech to supporters in Boston, Romney conveyed a message of unity in defeat.
I so wish that I had been able to fulfill your hopes to lead the country in a different direction, but the nation chose another leader, and so Ann and I join with you to earnestly pray for him and for this great nation.
The president says he looks forward to working with his former opponent in the future.
In the weeks ahead, I also look forward to sitting down with Governor Romney to talk about where we can work together to move this country forward.
The president in his victory speech took a very bipartisan tone, saying that Americans voted for action and not politics as usual. But again, keep in mind, this is a Democratic president who will be dealing with a House that is run by Republicans, a Senate run by Democrats. Again, the same setup, facing the same divisions that we've seen over the last 4 years. That is the very latest from Chicago. I'm George Howell reporting.
It's safe to say that Tuesday was the biggest news day of the year, and of course, Coastline News was right there in the action. Reporter Julie McKibben shares from downtown on election night.
On Saturday, November 6th, many people gathered at the Civic Center in downtown San Diego. People of all kinds came to experience election night and showed their support for their country as the world waited to see who was going to win the 2012 presidential election. Around 8 o'clock, they started to line up in front of 3 big screens that posted the local and national results of the election. I'm here downtown in the Civic Center. Behind me, there are a ton of people enjoying the election night, and it looks like President Barack Obama will be serving for another term. Republicans and Democrats stood amongst many politicians during the event, including Congressman Darrell Issa, who gave a few words on the outcome of this election.
I think President Obama appears to have won a second term, but he didn't win a mandate. So now the question is, will he lead differently in a second term? Will he work with a Republican House that's been returned because of our overwhelming support, a Democratic Senate to get things done? This is something that other presidents have done successfully. Hopefully President Romney would have done it, but if it's President Obama, hopefully he'll learn to do it.
Not everyone was happy to see Obama win another term, but Democrat Gary Ann Brott shared why she did vote for Obama.
The most important reason I supported Obama was because of the Supreme Court and who he's going to appoint. I didn't want us going to war with Iran, which I thought Romney may. So those are my 2 principal reasons.
People were also seen supporting the mayoral race in San Diego and the propositions in California. Reporting for Coastline News, I'm Julie McKibben.
Elections are finally over, and we've got the final numbers on all those state propositions. Proposition 30, which discussed temporary taxes to fund education, passed by a slim margin of 53.9%. Proposition 31, which dealt with state budgets, state and local government, did not pass, Proposition 32, which discussed political contributions by payroll deduction, did not pass as well. Proposition 33, which discussed auto insurance prices based on driver history, did not pass with a 54.6% vote not in favor. Proposition 34, which dealt with the death penalty, did not pass as well, 52.8% not in agreement. Proposition 35, which discussed human trafficking, passed by a large margin of 81.1%. Prop 36, which was the 3 strikes law, did pass with 68.6% of the vote. Proposition 37, which dealt with genetically engineered foods, also did not pass with 53.1% of the vote. Proposition 38, which dealt with tax for education and early childhood education, did not pass, 72.3% of voters not in agreement. Proposition 39, which dealt with business tax for energy funding, did pass by only 20%. Proposition 40, which dealt with redistricting state senate, did pass with 71.4% of the vote.
The man behind a Tucson shooting rampage has been sentenced to 7 consecutive life terms, followed by 140 years in prison. Jared Lee Lautner killed 6 people and wounded 13 others in an Arizona shooting rampage in January of 2011. The 24-year-old attacked victims at a political event outside a grocery store for then-Representative Gabrielle Giffords. After the shooting, Lautner was diagnosed with schizophrenia and underwent forcible psychotropic drug treatments. The judge declared, however, that Lautner was able to understand the charges against him. It is unclear where Lautner will be sent to serve his federal sentence, but he may end up in Florence, Colorado, which is home to some of the country's most notorious criminals, including Oklahoma City bombing conspirator Terry Nichols and Unabomber Ted Kaczynski.
Don't go away, we've got the latest on Hurricane Sandy.
And we'll fill you in on how San Diego will celebrate Veterans Day. Coming up next on Coastline News. More than 1 million people in the Northeast still have no power after a week after Superstorm Sandy came ashore. Jason Carroll reports.
Olympia Boulevard is like many streets in this section of Midland Beach, Staten Island. Most of the homes destroyed. At least 2 people died on this block, an elderly couple who lived in this home. Life here, a struggle for basic necessities, clean water, a place to live.
We have Pampers, wet ones, water or food, anyone?
So it may come as no surprise while the rest of the country is focused on Election Day, now just hours away. That feels like a world away to people like David Kudanatov, who is still trying to recover whatever can be salvaged.
Priority is getting myself reorganized at my home. That's it. Politics has no meaning. Romney, Obama, none of them really matter as of now.
Across the street, Anita McGrath arrives at her home for the first time since evacuating before the storm. It has been condemned. Her cat, Robbie, survived. Robbie! If she can just coax him out. Voting and politics will have to wait for her, too. There are more pressing priorities.
Someplace else to live, I guess. But as long as me and my family's okay, I don't care about anything else. I'm sorry.
Numbers are not in yet. Officials are still counting those displaced by the storm.
You know, thank God we got our lives. That's the important thing.
Milton Haber will be included in that official number.
It's devastating. And, you know, I'm retired from the EMS. I have been through a lot of disasters. But when it happens to you, it's totally different.
Despite losing his home, the cleanup for him is not yet underway. Instead, meetings with FEMA taking up much of his day. Despite it all, Haber says he will not let the election pass him by.
I'm going to go vote.
You are still going to go vote?
It's an American thing to do.
After so much has been taken from the people of Staten Island, feeling powerless in the wake of Hurricane Sandy, for some, casting a vote gives them a sense of empowerment, even if it's a small one.
I'm voting. I'm going to work tomorrow.
Going to work, casting a vote, things many take for granted, but not here. Jason Carroll, CNN, Staten Island.
In local news, the district attorney is declining to file charges against a man arrested on the suspicion of molestation. 76-year-old Tito Pimento Cayanta is suspected of molesting one preschooler and trying to do the same to another in a condominium complex near his Oceanside home. After being accused of victimizing the two girls, a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, the San Diego County District Attorney's Office announced that it would not be filing charges against Cayanta.
San Diego County's annual Veterans Day Parade takes place on Monday morning. This is the 65th Veterans Day Parade in downtown. It begins at 11 a.m. on Grape Street and North Harbor Drive. Since San Diego has the country's largest concentration of Navy and Marine Corps, the city expects a lot of attention.
In more Veterans Day news, the second annual Battle on the Midway game is being postponed due to the possibility of rain. The college basketball game on USS Midway will now take place on Sunday. The San Diego State Aztecs and Syracuse University are set to tip off at 1 p.m. You know, earlier in the week, Fox Sports said that if there was still a chance of rain for Friday, they were going to have to move the game. You played basketball. How big of an effect would rain have on the deck of the ship where the game's being played?
You know, even just the slightest bit of moisture in the air, whether it's on the ball or on the court, could drastically change the game completely. And then you have to take into account injury, you know? So luckily we have weather reporter Hannah Faria to tell us this weekend's weather.
Well, thanks, ladies. After we've experienced a few weeks of some warm weather and high 80s last week in San Diego, we are finally experiencing some cooler temperatures. Yesterday, we started getting some winds and breezes from the northwestern areas from Alaska. Those breezes are coming to Southern California, and we are getting some cooler temperatures, which is very nice and refreshing. So tonight's lows, low of 66 in San Diego. It is going to be cooling down a little bit more in the week, but as we go higher into Irvine areas, as well as Riverside, it is getting even colder, the lows of 50s. Now tomorrow's highs are still, we are not hitting the 70s, which is very nice and refreshing again. Still the same as today, 66 in San Diego. And as you head up north, it's a little cooler, and it's just going to stay cooler for the rest of the week. Now tomorrow night's lows, we are cooling down a great amount. A low of 54 in San Diego, 46 in Oceanside, and up there in Irvine, San Clemente area, we are getting under the 40s. So finally getting to that Thanksgiving weather feeling. Now for the 5-day forecast. Friday, we are going to expecting a few rainstorms. Now bring your umbrella, get ready for that cold weather. Saturday and Sunday, still cloudy, some expectations of storms. Sunday should be a warmer day. Now starting off next week, Monday, some more chances of rainstorm, but we are still not hitting up to 70, so still getting cool temperatures, a low of 54. And to wrap it up, Tuesday, a cloudy day, a high of 72, so a little warmer, but we're still not hitting that high peak in the 80s. So that's all the weather I have for you. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Hannah. Don't go away.
We've got sports coming up next. Welcome back to Coastline News.
The Chargers wrapped up their sticky situation that they found themselves in after the Broncos game on Monday night. Sports reporter Nicole Young has the full story for us.
Well, hello and good evening to you all. We are approaching the end of the week, which means I have plenty of sports updates for you. First, let's see how our Sea Lions are making us proud here at home. The cross-country teams will be heading to Ohio this weekend. Both men's and women's teams qualified for the NCCAA championships. Runners will compete on an entire grass course. The women's 5K race begins at 7 in the morning this Saturday, and the men's 8K will quickly follow at 7:45. The event this weekend will be the final meet for both cross-country teams this season. Moving on over to professional sports, the NFL is now banning the use of sticky substances on game days. This decision follows an investigation of the Chargers using a sticky substance during one of their recent games. The Chargers were found innocent of any misuse. However, they will be fined $20,000. Apparently, the equipment staff did not release the sticky towel in a timely manner. The Chargers will play their next game this Sunday morning at 10 o'clock against the Bucs. The NBA is making headlines as well. Steve Blake of the LA Lakers is fined $25,000. During Monday night's game against the Clippers, Blake cussed out a fan sitting courtside. The Lakers were losing at the time of the outburst, and Blake had just been fouled out of the game. Unfortunately, the man was a longtime Laker fan. Soon after the game, Blake announced his apology. The Lakers will take the court tomorrow night against the Warriors at 7:30. Baseball season may be over, but the MLB is still making headlines. The LA Dodgers have a new hitting coach. The 12-time All-Star Mark McGwire is now a part of the Dodgers coaching staff. But it's no surprise the Dodgers want McGwire's help. The former St. Louis Cardinals player broke the record for home runs hit in a single season. The Dodgers general manager said he has high hopes for the team's offense in 2013. The LA team finished 13th in their league for runs last season. Well, that's all I have for you guys in the world of sports. See you next time.
Thanks, Nicole. After all that drama in the professional sports world, we want to end tonight on a good note. So we'll leave you with Hannah Faria and the fun she had in Little Italy recently.
San Diego's Little Italy Association organizes a festival that celebrates Italian culture since 1994. On October 13th, over 120,000 guests attended the Little Italy Festa, which features an array of culture. The community welcomes guests to explore sights, tastes, and sounds of traditional Italy. Vendors take advantage of the large amounts of customers who will visit their booths.
And one day we're going to sell more cheesesteaks than we do in like 5 or 6 days at the restaurant. So that's a lot of steak.
Booths feature everything from jewelry to cooking demonstrations.
This is the biggest Italian event on the West Coast. Bon appetit.
Gusto Italiano is a favorite for many who attend the festival as well. The chalk art fills 4 streets throughout the Little Italy community. Artist Cecilia Linaio enjoys interacting with visitors who come to see her draw.
What kind of things do you like to draw? Street painting is traditionally an Italian art form, so it goes hand in hand with this.
That's all we have for you tonight, Point Loma. I'm Kayla McMacken.
And I'm Amanda McCord. Don't forget to tune in 2 weeks right here, Channel 23, 8 o'clock, and we will have the latest news for you from Point Loma, San Diego, and around the world. Have a good night.